Okay. Yeah, and we are live. Welcome to the Fantasy Basketball Page podcast. And this is our weekly grind, the Head 3Head international episodes. So a little bit shaky there. It's been a while. We weren't able to record for the past week. I was on vacation. Some of us are busy as well, but nonetheless, here we are. We're back together. The brochachos are back. And let me check. How are you guys? How are you, Daniel and Arik?
G'day, Roy. G'day, Arik. Yeah, doing well. Thank you for having us again.
Of
Hi
course,
guys, I'm fine. Thank you very much.
of course. We've been all busy. Arik has been busy updating the day-to-day fantasy app. If you haven't really checked that, please download that. That his team has been really been busy updating everything like in the real time almost. So it's very nice to check that one out. And also, D-Mac already started his own show. So what's up with the episodes? I've been watching it, and then you've been killing it, bro.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, working with Kayla Fonte, great new talent. So yeah, our weekly show is Between Two Hoops. So check us out over on NBA Fantasy Bible on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts as well. But yeah, of course, follow us on Twitter.
It kind of like reminds me, at least the title of the show reminds me of Between Two Ferns by Zach Galifianakis. I can't
Yeah,
really pronounce
inspired.
his surname.
Yeah, inspired by. Absolutely.
Very nice, very nice. At some point, we'll definitely have you or any one of you individually in the show. So looking forward to it. Okay, so everyone, this time since we've been talking about several preseason topics, drafts, players that we love and we don't love, stuff like that. Now it's already we the season already started, so I guess we have to shift to a different kind of format, and we are gonna talk about several players. We divided it technically per position, so several names the guard, forward, and center positions. Wherein, well, of course, we're gonna talk about currently happening to these players, as well as we are going to tag if we we suggest to hold them, to drop them, to add them, to trade for them, or to trade them. So several things to talk about, and what's best to start with D-Max boy, the guy from DC, Jordan Poole. Let's start off with Jordan
Yeah,
Poole.
huge
I'll ask
disappointment.
T-Mac. What can you say about Jordan Poole?
Yeah, he's let me down, hasn't he? Huge disappointment, but still early. It's week 3. He's not getting the minutes or the usage that I expected. But like I said, it is early, but the signs aren't great. I was expecting 32 minutes a game. He's getting, I think, 27, averaging 27 minutes a game. There's a lot of blowouts as well, so we've got to take that into account. So both sides of the ledger there. So normally Washington are being blown out, but I think they've even had a blowout victory as well. So keep that in mind. I think it's a great buy low opportunity. I just can't see him shooting less than 42% from the field moving forward. I think he's roughly around that 41, 42%. So I think it's a buy low opportunity. Contrary to a lot of thoughts on Twitter, I just don't think he's a drop. I can't see him, the probably number one or number two usage guy on that team, can't see him being a drop. And yeah, for me, huge buy low opportunity.
Any player you have in mind that you think could be enough to uh trade for a Jordan Poole?
Look, based on the fact that a lot of people are considering dropping, it's probably not going to take a great deal to get his services moving forward. So you could potentially get him for a round 8, round 9 sort of guy, but that would be a huge steal in my mind. But I still think he's still got top 60 upside moving forward. Probably a little bit lower from where I was having him, hoping that he would play that number one role, but it's looking like Kyle Kuzma's taken that upon himself. But yeah, huge room for improvement.
This is a question for the both of you. Would you, if you own Osar Thompson and
Mm.
Jordan Poole was offered, would you accept that?
I'm taking Asar. He's looking awesome. He looks so good. And from a dynasty perspective, I think Before the season, people knew that he had a wonderful fantasy stat set, but I don't think anyone expected him to look this awesome so early. Just defensively as well, it's AK-47, like just those defensive stats. Plus, if he gets any sort of nice stroke from the field, he's just going to be amazing, top 20 type of dynasty player moving forward.
Oh, choosing Oscar over Jordan Poole there. How about you, Arik?
Listen, I was called on Pool since the beginning of the year, but I didn't expect this. You know, me too. I also thought he would be better than this. The minutes are a problem. His free throw percentage is low. His free throw attempts are low. I thought he will be much more aggressive, go a lot to the line, score much more per minute. Not only the problem isn't only the minutes, but his productions within the minutes it is playing. I think it's as Daniel said, I think he will be much better than this. Okay, I'm not. If I had Osar, I wouldn't give it him for Pool, but I think Pool is someone you can get really cheap now. Osar is really great because he can shoot and he still ranked really high. It's not like like a player that is as a 60% from the field right now and 90% from the line, and this is why he's ranked high now. And you know that his averages will regress. Also, doing a lot of things now that there isn't a reason why he shouldn't keep doing them. A lot of defensive stats, a lot of rebounds. Okay, the free throw percentages are going to drop. Okay, also isn't an 80% player. Okay, he's going to shoot much worse from the line. But other than that, he's going. I think he's going to be top 70 plus minutes per game from now till the end of the season. And I'm not sure that Poole is going to be top 70 player. But as Daniel said, you can get Poole really cheap now, and if you can, do it. I don't have in mind the player that I can get it with him because it really depends on the league. Okay, as we talked in previous episodes, the perspective is really different in other areas. Okay, and in different leagues. So I'm not sure about the answer. Who is the player? But I'm sure you can get it cheaper than he will be worth.
But interesting to get some hot guys as well. So someone like Cam Thomas, who's now out injured, but would you rather Cam Thomas or Jordan Poole?
No, I'll take Poole in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
I don't trust. Cam Thomas is crazy streaky player. He contributes almost strictly in points with a abnormal usage rate, and the other Cam was injured, so he had he had the ball in his hands a lot, and uh, other than that, I don't believe that he can maintain those numbers or close to those numbers for a full year. Okay, shooting 27 points per game, 48% from the field is not that player. Okay, he gets hot. He have crazy streaks. Okay, he's so streaky. It's crazy. When he's good, he looks like one of the best players in the league. But there's a reason why he's a substitute player for Brooklyn and not, the starter of the Clippers. Okay, uh, I prefer taking Poole. I think Poole will have season-long value. I'm not sure about Cam Thomas. He might have. Okay, but I when he get back from injury, I'm not sure what will be his role and how he'll get back.
Yeah, I use
Yeah,
Cam Thomas as an example, just as a nice juxtaposition between selling high and buying low as well. So some people think that Cam Thomas is going to be a top 50 guy for the rest of the season, not
I
really
can be,
realizing that guys have been out as well. So it's just a great opportunity to compare those two.
yeah,
I,
and
ca- I will put a large amount of money if someone is willing to bet about Cam Thomas top 50. I'm going under, and is I'm pretty sure he won't be top 50 player. I believe you do too, Daniel.
and
Yeah,
You don't.
I agree. I agree. I don't think he's going to sustain that. Cam Johnson's been out. I was told by someone that Cam Johnson's not going to impact Cam Thomas at all. So I heavily disagreed with that person. But yeah, these people are in leagues, so maybe they're in leagues with you as well. So take the opportunity, buy low, sell high.
yeah,
Yes.
and I think I've in one of my episodes I've discussed this, my personal opinion on that. I think in this generation and in the past couple of years, GM should be, at least in the Philippines, they're better, like way better. Cam Thomas, never a question. It's a player of opportunity. Haven't no one that I know really think it's gonna be sustained. That's the reason why I kind of like posted that. Is selling high really still a thing? Because I think so, but I do believe it's better tag as selling now instead of
Mhm.
selling high because of all of the information that we got. GMs are better. A lot of analysis available for you. Like before you accept a trade, simply Google, check the X, check the YouTube videos. You'll get a lot of analysis there. So it's going to be tough. I'm not saying that it's not there, but it's really tough to really sell high players right now. Speaking of selling high and selling low, let's this is going to be a good topic for me. Let's talk about someone like CJ McCollum. Because CJ McCollum is currently injured, right? So for me, if someone asks me, because it's really hard to be asked by a generic question like, "Hey, Roy, who's the best buy low player?" It's kind of hard because when you say best, it should be best for your team, right? It's like not just in a vacuum. So I have to ask, hey, what are your players? What are your build and all? But it's hard to do that in an episode like 30 minutes to 45 minutes. If everyone is gonna ask that, oh, it's gonna take not just hours but days. So I told them, you know what? Just to have a quick answer, best buy low players are the ones that are injured. Then, but you have like as long as you have IL or IL plus, and then as long as there's like a definite what I call this timeline, then I would say that's a best buy low. Why? Because hey, if you argue with me, your guy is giving me zeros. So there's nothing more buy low than that. But nonetheless, going back to CJ Mac, um, um, do you think with his special case wherein it is recurring, but the past time it didn't took a lot of time. Are you still interested with CJ Max? Say for example, it was packaged into a 2:1 or 2:2 deal. Especially now that his two replacement is really playing decent, actually more than decent, especially Hawkins, right? So what you say about CJ Max? Let's start off with Arik then.
It depends. It really depends because player like this, you if I have a strong team right now and I'm not willing taking chances, I won't take him. If I have to take, it, as I said, it depends on the situation. If I need to take risks right now, I'll take him. CJ McCollum every year is the same. It starts crazy good. Okay, top 30 player, plays at a really high level, then gets injured and comes back and sinks the floor. Okay, it's this every year is the same. Okay, so now he's got a problem that I believe he had before. Okay, it's not
Yeah,
something new, right? Okay, and I'm pretty sure that when he'll back, he won't be as good as he's been right now. Okay, Colomra was what top 30 player now. I'll check just a second.
He's 20th on Basketball Monster, Eric.
Yeah, 20. Crazy good, okay? With 1.5 steals, 0.8 blocks, 3.2 three-pointers, okay? And only 1.3 turnovers. I don't believe that when he'll back, he'll stick, but he still can have value with people don't trust his health. So it depends on what I'm giving. I can't answer this question without knowing what is the package I'm giving and what I'm getting, because
Yeah. So
as I
how about in a vacuum? Is it more of like a red flag already, or is it an opportunity?
I think it's always opportunity, okay? But it always depends on the price. I don't have players, almost none, that I'm saying to me that I won't take him no matter what. Okay, it always depends on the price, and it always depends on my situation. If I'm leading the league and I have a real strong team, I don't need to take the chance. But the opportunity is always there. Okay, that's how I see it. Okay, if I need to take chance, if I'm saying to myself, my team is mediocre. Yeah, I can get to the playoffs, but I don't view myself as an elite team. If I'll get him, and he'll play at a high level, I'll have a really solid team that can win the championship, or I can see myself doing the jump to an elite team in my league. Then I'll take him. Okay, but again, it depends on the price that I'm paying. So as long as I don't know what you're asking me for CJ McCollum, I can't give you a straight answer.
Yeah, sure, fine. How about you, Dima?
Yeah, it's a level of risk. We've seen it before. He missed 19 games last time with the collapsed lung. I think the timeline's going to be similar. Having said that, you've got guys that are still on the sideline for the Pelicans as well. So you got Jose Alvarado, who was his normal backup at point guard as well. So he's been out. Dyson Daniels has looked quite good in the last couple of games. Jordan
40
Hawkins, as we
minutes,
alluded
40
to,
minutes.
yeah, so he's looked really good.
I,
Jordan
I
Hawkins as well, so he's filled in nicely. But let's not mention Arik's guy, Trey Murphy as well. Different positions, of course, but there's a lot of mouths to feed as well. So let's say CJ comes back in 3 to 4 weeks' time at the best opportunity. These guys could be all back by that stage as well. So top 20 probably just by default with the minutes decline, usage decline as well, comes down to maybe top 40, top 50. And then if there's any drop in form as well, then that could blow out a little bit as well. So yes, there's opportunity. Similar to Arik's point, it really depends on what you're willing to give up.
say, for example, I see a GM that is frustrated with Chris Middleton, and then I offer my CJ McCollum. Do you think it's a good deal?
Mhm.
Because I mean, for
Yeah.
me, it's so fine. It depends on the opportunity, but you have to really create the opportunity because it's
Roy, I
subjective,
have
right?
I have a question for you.
Sure,
Okay, can I ask you a question before?
sure.
You thought about Middleton before, or is it a name that you thought now?
Just
Thought
now, because
about
I
now?
was thinking of a
Because
case.
I think it's the best name that you could have you could have asked about. I think that most players that you have asked about, I had a straight answer, but Middleton, I don't have an answer to you. Okay, it's hard. Okay, I think it's a really good name. But Middleton, I think that is going to get the minutes, normal minutes, about the same time that McCollum is going to get back. Okay. Meanwhile, you don't have a player in the IL spot, and you have, and he doesn't. He plays kind of good in the last 3 games, Middleton. Although he doesn't have a lot of minutes, but he's not playing at a level that of a player with real value. So I, it's a really hard question.
Of course, that's the reason why I'm picking these players. Because for me, those are the opportunities. Because if it's clear cut, then what's the fuzz of offering such trades, right? Me
Uh, uh,
usually, I usually come in and offer trades to players that there's a gray area because you can easily kind of like uh there's no one is that is already on top of the trade. So you can easily chime in like a kicker, or you can easily talk about, oh, it's not gonna play, compared to someone like that. It's clear cut. Then it's you won't even have a discussion. They will just either reject or accept it. But nonetheless, yeah, I'm just thinking of the harder players because that's the reason why we're here. We need to really help our people and audience to kind of like give them angels with those type of scenarios. Um, this one is going to be easy, I guess, and this is fun. How have you seen the ones that I retweeted about? I forgot the commentator from the Dallas Mavericks who dropped a pipe bomb to James Harden. One of the finest couple of minutes. You have to see it, Arik. You have to see it, D-Mac. So it was a pipe bomb talking about Harden, wherein, hey, you did this and you haven't really played well, blah, blah, blah. It was fun. You have to check it out. So with that said, James Harden. What should we do with James Harden? Before everything, before the trade and all, he was tagged as buy low. So now he's currently playing. I understand is in the system. Uh, is Do you still consider him as a buy low? And then how high or low are you thinking? So let's start off with D-Mac.
Yeah, I think he's still a buy low. He's still figuring out the system. 3 games in with the Clippers, Kawhi and PG have also suffered as well. So I think they're all, to a certain degree, buy lows. How high would I go? It's a tough one. What is he, Arik? Yeah, he's top 50, but he's been relatively efficient in his shooting, even though he hasn't put up a lot of shots. This is Harden. He's been efficient. He's still getting some steals. His assists rate, even though it's 3 games in, small sample size, has been really reduced. So he doesn't have that opportunity like he's had in previous years. How high? I still think he can be a top 30 guy. Honestly, I think he can be. He's got that pedigree about him. There's going to be opportunities, inevitably when Kawhi and PG miss as well. So he's going to start running the show when those guys are out. But in the meantime, I still think he's going to be in that top 30 range.
Yeah, and by the way, it's Brian Damaris, the announcer who just dropped a truth slash pipe bomb to James Harden. It was I'm telling you, you have to watch it. How about you, Eric? What can you say about Jimmy Harden, who apparently partied to the club after his debut game? So
uh, he is currently ranked, according to Basketball Monster, 28 per game after 3 games, but you can't take anything from this rank because he's shooting 54.2% from the field and 100% from the free throw line. So he won't keep that efficiency. But I pretty agree with D-Mac that he can, he'll score more, he'll assist more, he'll have more peripheral. Oh, I said this word badly. Uh, Peripheral stats uh, and counting stats better, and the efficiency will drop. But I think yes, top 30 is about as I view him.
so if he gets a top 30 value, it's really hard to imagine a team with a lot of top 30, top 50 values, right? So possibly there's gonna be someone impacted. So who do you think will be heavily impacted? I think Russell Westbrook is a clear cut. So I'm gonna ask, would it be Kawhi or Paul George, or depends on the game, or both? Because I see several posts that both will they seem to agree that both Paul George and Kawhi is going to be impacted with James Harden's presence. So what do you think about that, Eric?
Uh, First of all, let's remember that Paul George and Kawhi uh, are going to miss a lot of games. Okay, so I think that, as D-Mac mentioned, uh, they're still playing together, but there will be a lot of games that not all of the four players will play together, and and there will be more opportunities for everybody that play. But I'm not sure that they need to be really heavily impacted if they're going to if they're going to play well, okay, and be efficient. So they won't have to really take a big hit. But if I need to gamble who is going to take the biggest hit from all of them, it's going to be Paul George. He started the year really strong. Last game was really bad, and I think that if Harden will bite in the usage of any one of them all, I think that George will take the hardest hit.
There you go. And he wasn't able to catch several assists by Harden in the past games. Did you see the pass that Harden gave
Yeah,
to Paul George? It was too high. Like the
yeah,
commentators was the commentator mentioned. I forgot that it was a known commentator saying that, oh, it was one of my best call because I was seeing it in the air already. Do you agree with that, D-Map? What you say
Yeah,
about
I
Jimmy
do.
Harden?
I
Sorry,
agree that
about Paul George and Kawhi.
I think Harden's presence, similar to what Arik was saying, I think he probably impacts PG the most, just because you think about the assist rate as well. I still think Kawhi is able to function close to normal with Harden alongside of him, plus the other guys as well. I think PG just loses that assist opportunity now that Harden's there.
So let me kind of like reroute the scenario here. So we have several players that are technically top tier players. Um, let's talk about Zubac for a moment, quickly. Does this help Zubac, or is this the same for him? Because we're talking about several players that really can pass and then create a very good pick and roll plays. Do we expect better stats from Zubac given that Harden is already in the team? D-Mac?
I don't think the offense revolves around Zubats. I don't think it really impacts him. I think Zubats may have had a couple of decent games recently, but Plumlee's out or has been out in a couple of those games as well. So it's a hard one. It's disappointing because I've got Zubats in one of my leagues. I think in the Locked On Fantasy Bowl. He could be a drop candidate. He hasn't really been. His name hasn't been thrown out as a drop candidate, but perhaps he's just someone that could be put aside for one of the hot free agents.
Speaking of hat free agents, let's talk about someone that gives us a little bit more positive vibe. Let's talk about Jalen Johnson. So we've talked about All Star
Mm.
Thompson earlier. Jalen Johnson, do you think he's someone that can really sustain the values providing right now? Let's start with you, Dima.
Yeah, I do. I do. I think the sky's the limit with this guy. He has the complete package. He's got the all round game, and now he's starting ahead of Sadiq Bey. He just looks awesome. He's got the minutes. He's got the usage. He does a bit of everything. Yeah, I think easy top 50. I think he's in the top 50 now. Arik, let me know. I'm pretty sure he's in the top 50 as we currently stand. So
yeah,
would not be
48 per
surprised.
game.
There you go. There's no reason why he can't sustain that.
And Eric spent a good amount of time talking about the Hawks in our past episode, right? So Eric, end of the season value for Jalen Johnson. Any prediction?
I think his field goal percentage are uh, a bit too high. I don't think he can maintain 59.8 percent from the field. But other than that, I don't see any stat of him that he can't maintain. He's got 15 points per game, one three-pointer, 8.9 rebounds, 2.6 assists, 1.1 steals, 0.8 blocks. Is he? If you watch his college numbers, he was a really great defensive stats player in college already. I picked him up last year, okay, for a couple of games because I saw the potential. Sadly, this year I didn't pick him. I didn't took him. I don't have him anywhere. Where, but I really believe in him. I don't see where he's going to fall because he's a great rebounder. If he'll play next a lot next to Okungu, the rebounds will stick because Capella is a better rebounder than Okungu, and Jalen Johnson is tall. I think he'll probably, if he'll play next to Capella a lot, I think he can maintain those rebounds as well. But next to Okungu, it will be easier. The assists are there. He's a great passer. And so maybe he'll grow up to be a top 60 player, okay? Because the field goal percentages will be a bit lower, but it's still a crazy steal, okay? A crazy steal from draft day or pickup in the beginning of the year. It's not like a player, as I said before, with abnormal stats like 2.5 steals in the beginning of the year or 60% from the field for a guard or something like that. All of his stats make sense.
Yeah, and something that I would add there, the reason why he is getting a very high percentage right now is because he's receiving a lot of alley oops and free
Yes,
shots from Trey Young and Dejounte Murray. So
yeah,
if that
that's why I
if
say
that's
it's a bit high. That's why it's a bit high. I didn't say it's crazy high. He's going to drop 5-6%. No, but I believe the 56%, something like that in that area makes more sense to me. But again, this is the only stat that makes me wonder if he can maintain it. The others, I have no question that he can.
yeah, and if you check the depth charts of the Atlanta Hawks, I guess you should have like seen that they needed someone to step up because it's not really the bestest of the benches among all of the among the league, right? Especially when several usage guy like John Collins was moved, and then we aren't really seeing a lot of usage for Bogdan Bogdanovic. There were games that is getting a lot of usage, but it just shows that aside from Trey Young, aside from DeJounte Murray, they need someone to really step up. Another forward before we move to the bigs that I want to talk about is someone who kind of like really, for some reason, I had a lot of stocks, not a lot, just I think 4 stocks of Scotty Barnes because he apparently fell to my lap in several rounds. I have to pick him, I kind of like a situation. But Scotty Barnes, so I would start with this question: is Toronto Raptors Scotty Barnes team right now and moving forward? So, D-Mac, what can you say about that?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's his team now. I think Siakam's looking at a really nice game last game. It's clear that Scotty Barnes runs this team now, which is awesome. He's a first rounder at the moment, and I'm surprised. I didn't see this jump in his third year, but it's been an awesome jump for him. Toronto themselves have struggled, but he's looked awesome. He's bringing the defensive stats. His free
Yeah.
throws as well is actually quite disappointing. So there is room for him to improve. But his all-round game just looks awesome.
And he is attempting more threes, at least for the start of the season. So a little bit nice. I know it's gonna impact his field goal percentage, but the fact that he is someone that really drives a lot, I'm not really concerned about that percentage because I'm pretty sure it's gonna be helped by his drives. By the way, just to slip in, I kind of like in my previous Q&As, I kind of like called Tyson Daniels a bootleg Scotty Barnes just because of the stats that he's giving. So if you check the stats and how Scotty Barnes played in his rookie year, shaky percentage, almost triple double esque type of stats, then chimes in defensive stats. I could say he's like a bootleg chip Scotty Barnes. But going to DMAC, um, uh, so since Scotty Barnes is playing well, so this is a two-part question. So the first part is I think it might be pretty obvious that he's gonna possibly sustain this until end of the season. So with that said, it's a little bit high. So do you think it's gonna end up within the top 15? And the second part question would be, uh, Pascal Siakam. If people are saying he's just not playing better yet, so if he plays better, do you think it's at the cost of Scotty Barnes' good performance? Or would that impact Scotty Barnes?
Yeah, I think there's a relationship there. So we saw that Scotty Barnes was dominant when the usage for Siakam was really low, and there were a lot of concerns around Siakam. And then you see him with a humongous game with a lot of high usage as well. But Scotty Barnes was still able to prove himself with the defensive stats as well. So yes, it will impact his usage, but Scotty Barnes now has that ability to not just be an offensive player, but also show the really nice stats with the steals and the blocks, which I don't know if that's sustainable. If he's blocking two blocks or taking 2 blocks per game, I don't know if that's sustainable, but it's been awesome so far. Top 15, going back to your first question, I'm not sure about top 15, but I'd be confident in the first 2 rounds. I think that's something within him.
Sure. How about you, Arik? Any thoughts on those same questions as
I'm
well?
I don't believe he's going to finish in the top 15. I'm not sure he's going to finish in the top 20. His defensive stats now are really high, crazy high. His 3 points, he is shooting 38% from 3 point range after 2 seasons of 30% and 28%. So, I think he got better, but not that better. But I'm really high on him. Okay, I don't think he's going to be to go down to be 60 or something like that. I think he's going to finish in the third round, something like that, top 30, something like that. Hopefully, I'm wrong and he's going to be better. Okay, I have him in a league where I'm punting free throws, so I don't mind him continue shooting bad from the free throw line and doing everything else so well. I really like his blocks and the steals and the points and the 3 points and the rebounds. But really, he looks really great. Pascal looks really disconnected, and I won't be surprised if we'll see a trade on Pascal during this season.
Yeah, me too. Since we're transitioning to the big, let's stay with the Toronto Raptors for now because they've been receiving a lot of questions about this guy, Jakob Pertl. So aside from Scotty Barnes, to be honest, I think all of the Toronto Raptors aren't really playing well. I can't name someone that plays well while Scotty Barnes is playing well. Possibly Otto Porter because he's getting low minutes and he's providing, I don't know, one snipe, a couple of points in just 10 minutes, right? But nonetheless, Jakob Pertl, people were, because he did play, we all know how Jakob Pertl played in the San Antonio Spurs. When she shifted to Toronto Raptors, end of the season, is still playing well. So, what to do with Jakob Pertl, Aaron?
What to do? Pray. No, I'm kidding. I think it's going to be better. I don't understand uh, exactly why he plays such low minutes uh, this year, only 25 minutes per game. But it's the beginning of the year, and a lot of things are going to change. And fantasy, one of the most important things that makes a player a good player is patience and the understanding that players have good stretches and bad stretches, and it's not some things can stick and things are going to stick, and you need to be smart and understand. You can't always know, okay? Shea Gilgis Alexander free throw percentage last year, no one could have predicted it. And if there was someone that predicted it, he's an idiot, okay? Because it's something that you can't predict, okay? It's not logical, okay? And you have things like that. Brook Lopez block rate last year, the same. Okay, but most of the things, it's not like you can predict, but you know the most of the abnormalities aren't going to stay. And patience is the name of the game. I'm not doing anything with Peltel now. Okay, I'm not dropping him. That's for sure. I might buy low if it's really low. Okay, but I'm not selling him low. Okay, if I have him, I'm waiting. I'm waiting to see because now he's so low that I'm not going to get almost anything for him. Okay, so it can only get better. Okay, and dropping him is a bad idea, I think. Okay, at this point, wait 5, 6 games more. Okay, it's a long league. Okay, it's a long season. Wait and see what will happen. If I'm not mistaken, he started really slow last year as well. Okay, if I'm not mistaken, I'll check it out.
Yeah, totally agree with that. And I've been preaching as well that people are saying fantasy basketball is about stats. I think it's all about emotions and psychology as well as stats, because fine, stats are references, but people tend to react in just one game, or just one tweet, in just one post. So I think it's a little bit of both worlds. That's why we love playing it. Let me transition to D-Mac and talk about this dude, Julius Randle. Have you seen the post where everyone thought it was dates, the games of New York, but apparently those are field goal percentages. So it was funny. I found it really funny. Um, what would you do if you have Julius Randle
I would never have Julius Randle in a category league.
on the
So.
first on the first place, right? On the first, we're
Exactly.
kind of
Great
like,
answer.
yeah,
Great answer.
we're kind of like talking about people who owns him, because you'll be surprised. In some of my leagues, he's been picked like around third round, and you know maybe that's the reason why I got Scotty Barnes. But anyways, go ahead, D-Mac.
Yeah, he has his field goal percentage is horrific at the moment, and I don't think he's anywhere near that all-star level that he was a few seasons ago. And some of his attitude on the court looks disgusting as well. So he's not playing defense, he's not playing team basketball. So that's not conducive to more minutes as well. So he's not just going to be gifted those moving forward. So it's not looking good. Similar to what Arik was saying, I would probably pray, but look, you have to hold. You can't sell low on this guy. You can't drop him either. So he does provide really good rebounds. He will hopefully turn it around with his field goals. He's always been shoddy around the free throw line. He's never been a defensive beast either. So let's just hope that he does turn it around. The Knicks sorted out with him, but it's not looking good at the moment.
If Julius
I,
Randle
I just
gets
want to say, that I ate today cheese with higher fat percentage than his field goal. Okay.
well, that's Julius Randle for you. Uh, uh, maybe maybe people so remember when we all hated Julius Randle, that now we don't draft him, right? And then that season he played very well. I think people kind of like stuck with that season, possibly, because I don't know. It's been there's some uh I have some I have one Julius Randle, but I got him like past middle rounds, and I thought that, hey, I wanted some points, so I have to get him, right. So going back to my question to T-Mac right now, and Arik as well. Um, if or when Julius Randle plays possibly 2 to 3 games, um, and you own and you wanted to trade him, do you think it's best to trade him for someone like um Mark Williams?
Uh,
If you can get Mark Williams for Julius Randle, you do that straight away. Mark
yeah,
Yeah.
Williams is
yeah, yeah,
a
yeah,
Now, so
yeah,
superstar.
this is
yeah,
where I step
yeah.
in. I think this is where I step in, because we we kind of like know that. But I want to emphasize this to our audience, because there are a lot of fantasy GMs that really value name. So this is how you trade. because you if you really watch the analysis, if you check the stats, it's pretty obvious, right? It's going to be Mark Williams. But this is how you play names because for some reason people love household names, and apparently Julius Randle is a household name. So that's how you trade a Julius Randle. You fight. Maybe not now because Mark Williams just dropped 2020, so you definitely won't get him. But how about Jalen Duren?
Same,
Julius Randle for Jalen Duren.
same deal. I think there's been enough hype around Jalen Duren, particularly in the first week of the season. Absolute superstar, young stud as well. So that's a really difficult one. I think what you would need to do if you are in the category league is maybe target a team that is obviously punting free throws, pose them the question, perhaps go for a 2-for-1 or maybe a multifaceted trade as opposed to a 1-for-1, but maybe target the team that is punting free throws where it's not that much of an issue. Maybe you need to target a team that's also punting field goals as well. So that's a
Yeah.
difficult one, but I think then they've really got an advantage over you in that trade scenario as well because they know that you're desperate to trade away. So it's one of those situations where you just need to wait for the couple of big games in a row and then strike while the iron is hot.
This is going to be interesting. Arik, I know you own Okongwu. If someone offers Julius Randle for Okongwu,
I would laugh at his face. I
would you
would laugh
call?
at his face. I
Would
would
Would you
laugh at
call
his
him?
face and block him. Okay.
There you
Come
go.
on. Come on.
I was waiting
Be
for that
serious.
reaction. I
Be
was
serious.
waiting. I was waiting for that reaction.
Be serious. I'm not giving Congo for for Randall. Even for prime Randall, I'm not giving him. Randall, listen, I'm really proud of myself because I predicted it to Randall. I told you his shot selection is horrible. Okay, so he had the luck last year that a lot of the hard shots went in, but you can't make a career out of it. You're not Kobe Bryant. You're freaking Julius Randle, okay? And I'm all about efficiency. Julius Randle is all about inefficiency. So we don't click in fantasy. Uh, of course, I agree 100% with D-Mac. You can't throw him. You need to find a team that punts both percentages because he wrecks both of them. Okay, I don't even sure what is his main damage. Okay, I'll check. Okay, but if there's a team that if you're punting free throws, sometimes you have such a strong field goal team that you can sustain the heat. And the same if you punting field goals, you might have such a strong free throw team that you can take the hit with him. So you need to find a team that punts one of them or both of them and try to give it to him for something. But again, as horrible as he is now, it won't be the same all year long. Okay, he'll be better. Okay, so maybe the wisest thing now is to keep him and wait a bit until he gets a little bit better and then trade him when he'll have a bit more value. Okay, selling low is a bad idea. Not only here in the stock market as well. You're not say you don't want to buy a stock when it's really high or sell when it's really low. Okay, that doesn't make sense. And Julius Randle stock, is as low as it gets.
Yeah, and Julius Randle apparently is kind of like angry with Jalen Brunson because he's not making the team well for him in his perspective because Jalen Brunson is good to the point that he's making Julius Randle bad a lot more. But anyway, let me shift to Yusuf Nurkic. So Yusuf Nurkic is playing decent, I guess. Some games it's meh, but well, in games that I think they wanted to win, really win, he's getting a lot of minutes. Um, my question here is, how confident are we with Yusuf Nurkic? Because I have in deep leagues. I really targeted True Eubanks as one of my last picks, just because I'm opposing the idea that Yusuf Nurkic will play a lot of big minutes and generally play the whole 82 games. So, what do you think, Dima?
Yeah, health and longevity has always been a concern for Nurkic in previous seasons, but he's getting the minutes. He's previous seasons in Portland, he was struggling to get above 30, but he's getting that high level of playing time, which is awesome for his value as well. So he's now providing his defensive stats, which have sort of gone missing in the last couple of seasons. So it's awesome to see him back. He's working well with the team. It's looking like a nice trade for both teams, with Ayton in Portland as well, doing really well. Even though he's not looking great on the offensive end, he's bringing the great rebounds, good defense as well. So I think it's worked out nicely for both. Nurkic is someone who's performing really well this season. Look at him, ranked 73, so that's awesome for him. And I think there's even more room for improvement as well, particularly around his free throws.
So I guess it's just about of this. It's a matter of like the health and how many games he'll play, right? So considering that, given that he's playing decent right now, um, is this an opportunity to sell and find a struggling big that you think has a better history of playing more? Say for example, Gafford is a little bit struggling. So if someone offers Nurkic for Gafford, what's your take, Arik?
I think that both of them, are I view them about the same. It's not like Gafford is the safest center there is. Okay, is in a team that will want in a losing team that's going to tank, and you can't be sure about his future as well as North. Okay, I mean that North has his issues. Uh, is in always in a an injury risk, and Gafford as well isn't the safest player to have. So I'm not sure who of the who of them I prefer. Okay, Nork has a lot of room for improvement. He's shooting only 41% from the field. The other stats can he can sustain them. Maybe the assist will be lower when Booker will play with Bill, but he seems like a nice catch in the draft. I think I would have. I think if I had him, I would try to sell him, but for something better than Gafford.
Gotcha. So let's talk about someone who likes Gafford. D-Mac, what can you say about that Nurkic Gafford trade
Listen,
scenario?
I want to say something. I really like Gafford. I have him in a assistant still punt team, and in this punt is pure gold. Okay, is nice to have. Gafford is nice to have. Okay, he's a great shot blocker, and you know, he's a decent center. But again, I'm not sure about his minutes. He tends to do a lot of fouls. I'm not sure what his role will be in playoff time. So those are the risks for me. Okay, that's why I'm saying what I'm saying.
Yeah, sure. So D-Mac, your take.
Yeah, definitely a sell high moment for Nurkic, as Eric alluded to. We've got Booker to come back as well, so the assists will come down. I prefer Dan Gafford. Um, in a vacuum, I think he'll provide better value. He does get into foul trouble, but he started off really slowly, but in the last couple, he's looked really good. He's got those blocks back. I think he'll shoot up that ranking board really quickly, and then you may look, if you think that he may not be the long-term future for Washington, maybe you can flip him again, but I would prefer Gafford.
Yeah. He needs just a little bit more porn from Jordan Poole, I guess. Um, so last question for the big man. This is something that I really want to hear from you guys. Walker Kessler was highly touted this season. And then I understand we've talked about this before, and then I know your perspectives with Walker Kessler. So this is a good kind of like case scenario because Walker Kessler didn't start very well in the season, right? And then got injured. So gotta ask you both, how do you value someone like Walker Kessler right now? So let's start off with Arik.
I think Kessler is and and I don't know if he didn't have the injury from the beginning of the year. I think something was wrong since the start of the year.
I think it's
Okay.
already lingering based on the news that I read. It seems like it's already lingering to the start of the season. Possibly something that he got in the FIBA. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. It makes sense to me, and because of that, I really think that at some point it's going to be the same monster that we've seen last season. Okay, and even though if it won't be that monster, it'll be a monster, even not the proportion that we've seen in the last months of last season. I think he's a really great buy low target. Okay, especially now when he's injured. Okay, and you know what? I'm going to offer for him in a few of my leagues. I'm going to check what his owner wants back uh, for him. I really believe in him because
Hey, Eric,
you,
who would you go? Your boy Okongwu or Kessler?
no, Congo. I think
we
sorry,
stick with our
sorry.
we
You
stick
can
with
you
our
can
boys.
yeah, you can say this name for no. I'll tell you the truth. Okay, I people might think I value too much of Okungu, okay? But is such a per minute monster, okay? And he contributes in so many fields. Now he became suddenly an elite free throw percentage. He got his percentages from the free throw line are getting much better from year to year, and I don't think he'll continue being a 91% free throw percentage player like he's now, but I view him as an 80% free throw percentage player, and it's really high for a center. Is a great blocker, and he only started to show that. And the biggest thing, most of the games, the Hawks playing better with him on the floor. Okay, so I I'm pretty confident that he'll play more minutes than Capella, and so I think he's safer than Kessler. Okay, Kessler now, as much as I really believe that he is going to be back uh, that good. He still have Collins there, something that wasn't last season. So the it's a bit more dense there in the bigs department. So there are things to fear about. I'm taking the player that can give me value if he is playing 20 minutes a game. Okay, and that's Okungu. But that's
Yeah,
me. I can be really wrong here.
and it was funny because one of my first couple of posts in Facebook was I was actually counting who gets more threes, Okongwu or Kessler, because prior to the start of the season, both are actually shooting threes, right? And then apparently, I think Kessler won by just one snipes. But anyways, going back
Both
there,
of them have, both of them have two right now. No,
oh, now it's there too. I thought Kessler kind of like bumps Kongo by one, but nonetheless, the reason why I started this conversation because actually Kessler is my number one buy low my list right now just because of the scenario that I explained earlier. Someone who started slow, so because I was aside from the stats, I'm thinking with the emotion of the GM because if you drafted Kessler so high and then he started slow, you get really pissed and now he's injured. I think that's the best time to really play with the emotions. Anyway, um, D-Mac, this is to really clear the final um question that I have for this episode. What would, I mean, out of all the options in the Memphis Grizzlies front court, aside from Triple J, of course, especially in deep leagues, who's the best option there? Uh, Initially, I love Tillman, but he's already injured. Then Bismack Biyombo comes in, and he plays well. If you watch the actual game, to be honest, Santi Aldama is kind of like really helping him. It's odd that he doesn't get a lot of minutes, maybe because he's really playing behind Triple J. But the way he provides space in their front court really helps them. But is there any straightforward answer for you, D-Mac, in terms of the big man option in Memphis?
For now, it's got to be Biombo, but that's because Tillman is out. So Biombo's putting up big numbers at the moment. So he's a great stream for now. I've said for a couple of weeks, I don't think Tillman is a must roster player. I don't think the upside is there, and it's likely that I think Memphis will be looking for a trade, perhaps Capella, which will be a nice opening for a Kongwu. So that'll make Arik extremely excited. But even without the trade, I think it's a messy situation at the moment. I think they really do miss Stephen Adams, and he's a bigger loss than what people probably give it credit for. I don't think Biombo is the long term option for those guys. I don't think Santi Aldama can play enough at centre or allow for JJJ to play at centre as well. I don't think they really want him to play at centre. They want to protect him. He's not the best rebounder either. So Biombo for now, it just gets messy once Tillman does return.
For sure. And uh that's those names are really floating around a lot of leagues right now. So I'm pretty sure they were really looking for us to share some of those deep league names. Okay, so before we end this episode, any particular player you want to talk about? So let me start off. I'm gonna start off with Robert Covington. I know we've talked about Robert Covington in the past, but he was apparently traded. I was happy because uh, I was a Joel Embiid fan. In NBA cards, I actually collected these cards just because of the story. I like the narrative. I didn't like some of his attitudes, but no worries because I've already flipped all my collection, so I got my money back and more. But I was just remembering it's not Joel Embiid who started the trust the process. For me, it was Robert Covington because he's the definition of trust the process because he came from the G League. And during the time of drought, he was actually shooting the lights off. When I say lights off, meaning sometimes there's a streak, sometimes he goes I don't know, 2 out of 15, right? But nonetheless, his defense is something that really helps the Philadelphia 76ers right now. Is getting what around 10 to 15 minutes only. I think it could hopefully could increase because despite those minutes, he's already averaging around 2.5 steals. Everything's blank, but I mean, getting those steals, especially in deep leagues, is going to be helpful, right? So that's the reason why I want to talk about Robert Covington. So if you're in deep leagues and you need some steals, I know he's a specialist. There could be some window of a little bit of upside. Maybe the moment he gets more minutes, hopefully those steals gets some threes as well. So it could be uh, again a very helpful fantasy player that we all love before in your team. So deep leaguers, I would suggest Robert Covington and have a look at him. So D-Mac, who's the player you want to talk about?
Yeah, just off the top of my head, Jalen Suggs. Michael Fultz is going to start at point guard. He's just come back, first game back in a while. The Jalen Suggs has looked really good. And I know Cole Anthony's there as well. They've got a couple of rookie guards there at Orlando. But Jalen Suggs is just bringing the D, and it's looking awesome. Perhaps this is his breakout season, but he's playing some good minutes. He's providing those steals, he's providing decent assists and rebounds. His percentages are always going to be a little bit iffy. So for those that can stomach it, I think he has to be rostered. But those free throws can hurt, and his field goals aren't elite either. But I think he needs to be rostered right now.
Yeah,
There you
yeah,
go.
he has to be. 7 steals. Oh my god.
Yeah, just a
Yeah,
couple of days
insane.
ago. And he's
Oh
hitting
my
his trees,
god.
right? He's hitting his trees. The lone
Yeah,
issue we have with Jalen Suggs before was his field goal percentages, and injuries, of course. But yeah, hopefully it sticks. Hopefully it sticks. Arik,
Yeah.
who's the player you want to talk about?
Uh, I need to think. Uh, Again, say what are the criterions?
Anything.
Criteria?
This is like an ambush question because I wanted to check who's on top of your head right now. Uh, the reason why I said Robert Covington because I have several tip leaks, and then I saw
Mhm.
him on the waiver, so I I pick it up. So that's the last player on top of my mind. So how
Roy, I
about you,
do have
Eric?
another one. I know
Oh,
you asked for one, but I do have another one as well.
Okay, I'll give you a name. I'll give you a name. I'll give you a name. Okay, my boy from Israel, Danny Avdia. Okay, it I'm not sure, but he looks really well. Uh, by now, and he can have a 12 team value season long. I'm not sure about it, but he's someone that you need to uh, watch or pick, just to see because he can contribute in so many ways. 2 games ago, he was bad from the field and didn't score a lot, but he still had assist, a block, a 3.3 from the charity stripe last game. The field goals percentage, again, the assist, out of position assist, the steal and a block, is someone that can contribute in a lot of ways. It seems like this year he plays much better with a lot more confidence. So I picked him up in some of my leagues, and that's why he's the first player that got into my head,
yeah, I really like Danny.
came into my
Also, Danny is babysitting Jordan Poole, so he has a lot on his plate. So, D-Mac, you're mentioning of another player.
Yeah, another one that's sort of gone under the radar, but Skylar Mays. I think he needs to be picked up. So
Yeah,
Yes,
under the
yes,
under the radar, just because Portland have only had it's a 2 game week for them. Brogdon's out injured, Scoot's out injured, um, Simons is out injured. Skylar Mays looked awesome in the last game. So if he's available, I think he needs to be picked up. So one more game this week for them, and then I'm not sure what the schedule is moving forward, but I'd say he needs to be owned at least in the next week or so.
yes.
yeah,
And in the app, in our fantasy app, in the day-to-day fantasy app, we recommend picking him up. So I totally agree with you, Daniel D-Mac,
yes. I,
my
I,
boy.
I hope we have Skylar Mays because I have 16 leagues, a lot of deep leagues, and the moment that Brogdon was injured, all of Mays are gone. So that's how fast people are. But of
Yeah.
course, there will be leagues that Skylar Mays isn't really picked, and yeah, you have to check them out. If I would something that I would like to mention, this no particular player, but whenever this happens, whenever a player that gets an opportunity or gets hype or whatever, someone will definitely want to pick them. And they want to pick them immediately, which kind of like could actually skew their decision making. So my suggestion to all who weren't able to pick players such as Mace, you check every player that was dropped from whoever picked those type of players. Because in everybody's trash could be some of the golds, right? So check them out. Don't go sad and hug yourself that I can't really get high players or players that have opportunities because I'm working on this time and I don't have enough time. So just after 4 p.m. by the way. So if you're still wondering, there was a daylight saving shift. If you haven't noticed, to all of our audiences, even some of my followers was asking, "Hey Roy, why can't I add this?" Because I was telling them, "Oh, we need to wait another hour." That there was a shift. So another reminder of that, and then again, that's just a reminder. Always check any player that was dropped by someone who catch some of the goodies that we missed out. So that's the fun in fantasy basketball. We differ in perspective because usually it's I don't know 12 team at least. Those are subjective GMs that they have different perspectives. So maybe they are easy to drop someone like Okongwu that Arik really values that is very justifiable. So who knows? There's always an outlier. So it was another solid episode. I had fun, and then I hope you like some of the touches wherein we add like organically on top of our head, keep giving you several players, especially in deep leagues, because there's a lot of um, GMs who are kind of like good, but their main concern is decision making. So that's the reason why we have episodes and shows like this to really guide you guys. Again, big shout out to the Day to Day Fantasy app. You have to check it out. If you haven't really checked out, you're missing a lot because there's good content. There are premium content, but there's day-to-day fantasy, which is a good content, but it's still free. So, there's no reason for you not to check it out. Plus, those episodes that D-Mac is also providing, I love it because, there are already contents about ads, traps, and all, and trades. So, you have to check it out. Guys, these are free information for you. We're here to really guide you along the way until end of the season. So I hope you will have fun listening and watching us. Parting words, D-Mac.
Just looking for a solid end to the week as well. Keep in mind that our boy, maybe your boy, not really my boy, Miles Bridges, is due to return next week, I believe. So let's see if there's any information on that, any updates. I have not seen much in the
There
last
is
30.
actually there is.
There
So
is?
he is about to join the team and join the practice. So
Oh,
me
that's
and D,
really bad news. Really bad news.
so
Really
it's
bad because I have a what's his
PG
name?
Washington.
No, the white guy.
Oh, Gordon
Oh,
Hayward.
Yeah, I have and I have him in few leagues, and he's lights out. He's crazy good. So I really don't want
sell,
Bridges back. You know, besides
sell him
of
now.
the moral point and everything, that is important, but I want to win my leagues. So more important that Gordon Hayward will continue playing like crazy
Yeah, good old Uncle Gordon. Yeah,
until he'll get injured and disappoint. But
I think he'll try not to be injured. I think he wants out of Charlotte. I think he really wants out. Anyways, D-Mac, you're about to say something.
No, that's all. Just a few things to watch out for end of the week, and of course, follow us on Twitter and check us out on YouTube as well.
Yeah, these two guys has been crazy busy posting a lot. So again, give a follow to NBA Fantasy Bible and Day to Day Fantasy. I've been telling several times you've been missing a lot if you haven't followed them. Arik, last couple of final thoughts.
I have personally a great week, really great week. I'm winning almost all of my leagues. Let's end this week well, guys. Let's end it well in a high note and bring home the bacon.
There you go. Oh, we're on top of the hour, but promise next week we'll give Arik and D-Mac enough airtime to talk about their teams when they are in the same league, right? So it's going to be fun to talk about that. So let's have a kind of like let's add a space wherein we review some of our teams because I before me my parting words is I just want to share that I have a team where I have 6 injured players. It was fun. I've already changed my team name to Team Hospital. So to be honest, it's the last team that I've been checking. I don't know, man. I have Anferny Simons, I have Walker Kessler, I have Miles Bridges, I have EM3, and forgot who else is there. I don't know. Just a pretty crazy team. But in that league, guys, the moment those players comes back, oh, I have a pretty decent team there. Anyways, thank you so much. Happy weekend, guys. This. We currently recorded it Saturday, my time, Philippine time. It's going to be posted tomorrow, night time. So watch out for it. I love my bro Chacho. Shout out to NBA Fantasy Bible, NBA Day to Day Fantasy. Peace out. Bye, guys.
Thanks, guys. See ya.